One of the best parts about being a small group leader is that you're given the gift of a front row seat to the journey your few are on, in life and in faith. But there's a flip to that, and your few, in turn, have a front row seat to your life too. In fact, this is one of the reasons why small group leaders are so important to begin with. However much of your life that you share with your few will speak to them about your own story of restoration and redemption. But this also means you need to guard your personal and spiritual growth. When you lead kids and teenagers, there's a spotlight pointed at your life, and your few will always be watching. It's the nature of the job. This may be intimidating, but it isn't an intrusion. It's an invitation for you to examine your own life and spiritual growth. Now, we aren't going to quiz you on Bible trivia. We aren't going to stand over your shoulder and make our judgments about your spiritual habits. But we can give you 3 strategies intended to help you make it personal. First, live in community. Community isn't just a concept for kids and teenagers to dive into. You need it too. You need to be doing faith with people who are your peers. Your preschool and your sophomore groups aren't your community. They aren't the ones that you vent to. They aren't the ones that you solicit advice from. They aren't the ones that you necessarily even ask for prayer from, although you can when the time is right. They aren't the ones that you process doubts and hurts with. You need other adults in your life. You need a safe place where you can dump all your baggage. You need a place where you can be encouraged and challenged. And if you're going to look at your few and insist that community is important for spiritual growth, then you need to model that for yourself too. The small group you've formed with your few is for them. The community you live in with your peers is for you. Next, set priorities. Remember what I said about how your few will be watching? This is the perfect opportunity for them to peek into the life of an adult who models this and see what it looks like to set spiritual priorities. The truth is that they may not have other adults in their lives who are keeping their priorities straight. And your kids and teenagers may not have the benefit of being around any other adults who have their head on straight, who set time aside for important things, and who follow through on what they say. So leverage this spotlight. Spend time with your own kids. Be a good friend to others. Model a healthy and happy marriage. Make time for your own spiritual development and growth when you're not with your few. Let your small group see you demonstrating the discipline of setting priorities, whether spiritual, relational, or personal. The only way you'll effectively be able to discuss authentic faith with your few is if you are experiencing authentic faith in your own life. Lastly, be real. Now, this one may be a little tough if you're under the impression that the best small group leaders are the coolest or the funniest or the most talented. But you don't have to be cool or funny or insanely talented to lead kids and teenagers. The best volunteers aren't necessarily any of these things, but they're real and authentic. They're confident in who God made them to be, and they model for their few that kids and teenagers can be too. And that makes them the best small group leaders. So be real. Don't give in to the temptation to be something that you're not for the sake of winning over your few. Be authentically you. If you try to be someone in your circle that isn't consistent with who you are outside of it, you'll be found out. And if your few never catch on, then they'll be robbed of the chance of getting to know you and of learning how to appreciate and love a person who is different from them. This is why it's so important to make all of this personal in your life. How can you encourage your few to spend time reading their Bible if yours is currently used as a coaster on your coffee table? How can you emphasize the power of prayer if the only prayer in your life is the one your son recites before dinner? How can you point out the benefits of discussing their faith with others if your motto is never talk about religion, politics, or money? How can you push your few to live out their faith if you never serve, praise, or give? How can you teach your few to be confident in themselves if you only let them see a manufactured version of yourself? Live in community, set priorities, be real. When you make time and create margin for these things, you're helping to ensure that your few are being led by someone who's living this thing out for themselves. It's more important for them to see a real, live person who is still growing, learning, and trying to live out authentic faith than it is for them to have another friend. When you're at your best, you'll be able to give your best. And you should give your best because your few deserve the best.